So, alrighty, so we're recording now, and so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll go into Moodle here. Do you see Moodle, my Moodle screen now?
Yep.
For class? Okay, great. I just wanted to show a few things. One important thing in the class is over here on the right, you're going to notice that there's latest news. And mine may look a little bit different than yours. Shouldn't too much because I'm the instructor. Like, you won't have this turn editing on because that is just for the instructor. But please note that here there are topics here. And I do think you get an email alert when I put announcements in there. But if not, always check here. I'll always have some tips, tricks, something for each week. That's where you can check to say, okay, what is due this week, you know? And so you can go through, and I'll even make a list for you about what's due when. And then also, especially the last week, I will give you some special little tips on how to do your action plan and make sure you get all your points the first time. So I like to help you out. And then you've probably noticed the participants and things. And one of the things too about your Moodle scavenger hunt is that when you come here, you're probably going to notice that you're in a group is probably what defaults to come up. And you're like, okay, I don't see Mary's name in here at all. Because one of the tips is to find my profile. So you need to choose all participants, and then you'll find me is there too. So that's the little tip for this week with the scavenger hunt, if you had any issues with that. And with the scavenger hunt too, you can always resubmit if you forget something. I'm very, very lenient. If you have anything going on in your life happens, let me know. I can certainly give you extensions. I have no problem doing that at all. I do check the troubleshooting and questions, and I do check up here is my messages. So I do check all of those, as well as email. I think email is probably the easiest to get hold of me because I have it on all my many devices I have. So that's probably the best way to get hold of me. So this week, you guys kind of looked at Moodle and kind of getting used to the navigation. And truth be told, Moodle and I had a love-hate relationship too when we first started. It didn't fit my mind. I'm a first grade teacher at heart, so I wanted it to be a little bit prettier than what it was and a little more organized. But over the years, it's gotten better. Moodle and I have learned to get along now, so it's a little bit better. I did notice that some of you guys were doing different things for the screencast, like Screencast-O-Matic is out there, and I know Chrome has a screencast also that you can use, like an extension. Any of that's perfectly fine. Whatever you need to use to make the screencast, whatever works is fine. They're all coming in just fine for me too. And you'll notice I'll grade those right away. But you notice that I probably won't grade your other things like your profile or your forum discussions until probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'll post those grades. I keep track of it all on paper, who's doing what and how you're doing, but I don't actually post that part until later in the week. But the screencasts, I check those as soon as I get them, or at least try to, so that if you do have any errors, I can send that back. Question?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is that what the Jing that you asked us to download? That's what you're referring to, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You can use Jing or Screencast-O-Matic or Screener. There's many different ways to record those, but yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Those are all new terms to me. So
yeah.
Until taking this class, I was familiar with Camtasia, but I didn't know about like Jing and the other ones that you suggested. So
yep, there's a bunch of them out there anymore. This is definitely doing screencasts is something that is becoming much more popular, especially when you want to show how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I used Screencast, Camtasia. I use that when I do a lot of my how-to tutorials for my teachers, but I use Zoom, like the screen capture, when I'm doing my training sessions for the teachers too. So yeah, those are just a bunch of tools that are possible out there. So, and any of them are fine. Some folks have better luck with some of them older than others. Screener used to have kind of a Java problem every once in a while, but I think it's sort of worked itself out. So any of them are fine. As we're going down here, the introductory forum, you guys are doing great with that. And again, just remember to reply to at least 2 other folks in there, and that's going just fine too. The conversations are doing well. They're flowing pretty nicely, which is great to see. And then changing and then updating your profile. You can put in a picture. It doesn't have to be a picture of you if you don't want it. And then just like a short write-up. And what I usually do every online class I take, and which I take quite a few of them too. Tomorrow starts my last class before I get my master's degree. So I'm like really excited that that journey will soon be over. But I've taken lots and lots of online classes, and I always copy my bio and I paste it in the next one, because every class you take, you're going to find that they want you to update your profile. So that's an easy way to kind of get around that too. The small group discussion is with that too. You're talking about in that, or you're replying in your groups. And I did put in the announcements who's in each group. A couple other places that you can find that is if you click on your profile at the top up here, it will tell you what group you're in once you get into your profile. If you scroll down just a little bit, it says what group you're in. But I did put an announcement out of each group, and I think everybody's finding their correct home. But again, you're going to want to reply, put your post in about your aha moments and the things that you've, and any questions you have about the article that it sparks it. And then as you can see here, there's some great conversations going on between the group members, and that's exactly what we're looking for, is that conversation that's going on there. And so everyone's doing a great job with that too. Lots of great conversations. And I don't reply to everyone in here. I will in the introductory forum. I don't like to manipulate the conversation a whole lot. I'll put a few things in here or there. But if I don't reply to you, don't think that I'm not reading it. I am. I just don't want to be like the controller of every conversation. So that's what, that's kind of a little bit about that too. Any questions on week 1 so far from anybody?
If we're missing something, will you shoot us an email and let us know, just since we're not completely familiar with navigating the website yet?
I always do that. Yeah, because I like reminders myself. And so usually the night before, usually on Monday, I go through everyone's assignments and I take note of if you missed anything or whatever, or if something's not complete, and I'll send you a message that lets you know what you're missing.
Thank you.
Yep, I've always done that. Reminders are a good thing, right? It's kind of one of those things. If it's not on my Google Calendar, it just doesn't get done. So reminders are good. Any other questions on week 1? Okay. All right, week 2, then we'll start on Wednesday. And here you're going to learn a little bit about netiquette and those kinds of things. So some stuff for you to read a little bit here. And then this next part here is a really great resource that you could use when you start your online courses, if that's the route you take. But there's a readiness survey. And you'll take that survey. It doesn't take very long. And then you submit your score and tell us what you thought about your score in the survey. I do want to click on here, the group work on, this is a wiki. And a wiki in Moodle is just basically like a collaborative table that you're going to be working in. Okay, and again, you'll just see your group when you come in here, I'm pretty sure. And not everyone's. Okay, and so what you're going to do in this table is, it always takes a brave soul to be the first one to start entering information for their group. But basically, you're going to talk about the attributes here on the left and how that happens in a face-to-face classroom, how that should happen in an online classroom, and which of the two is the advantage. So for instance, the adaptability for students with special needs. What does that look like, or what is the advantage of that in face-to-face classrooms? What is the advantage of that in online classrooms? And of these two, which of the two do you think wins out, the face-to-face or online? And then I need a little bit more here. This advantage column is kind of where we want your group to come to a consensus about whether it's face-to-face wins or if online learning wins, and of all of those different categories. And how you come to a consensus is, besides filling in this table, there are comments here. Do you see that? And so when you go into the comments section, you can add comments here about why you think, I think online learning is best for these adaptive learning because, and you can type in your what your thoughts are. And this is where your group has a conversation to come to that consensus in the last column. A couple bits of advice for this assignment is, A, do not wait until the last minute to do this. This is going to take some time. Not so much filling in the chart with your ideas, but coming to that consensus, because everyone needs to get in here, share their ideas, and come to a general consensus. Okay? This is where online learning, it will show you too that when you do group work, this is where, you'll have some folks that get it done early, and then you have some folks that wait to the last minute. And that's kind of frustrating at times, to kind of work with a group with different learners, but it's also a good experience for you to experience that too, so that you get a taste of what your students could possibly experience as well. So this is one of those assignments that are kind of, some people don't really like it so much because of that factor, but it's a great learning experience to go in it and explore the wiki. Do you have any questions on that part at all? So you're just filling out the table and doing the comments.
So the table is shared with everybody in the group. We all see what's being entered?
Yes, just your group. So just group one will see just this table.
Can stuff be removed and added back and forth on the table, or?
Yeah, you can do that. I would recommend not deleting somebody else's work. Now, if it happens that you accidentally do that, you'll notice that there's a history tab here, and we can go back and see. In fact, that's how I check this table, is I go back in the history and I can see what everyone has added. And then I also go and check the comments. That's kind of how I grade individually on that. Yep. Anything else? That's probably the most complicated thing for next week.
I just have one question in relation to the students with special needs.
Yes.
When we say face-to-face versus online, are we assuming like a coach or someone may be with them if it's online, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, but you could definitely include that in your rationale.
I mean, I know there's adaptations can be made with technology to help with some visual and other impairments and ease transitioning for assignments, but I was just, thinking about, I don't know, at the high school level where I was at before, kids still needed that mentor coach in this setting. So no matter if they were online or not, I think any student, not just the special needs kids, because it's really a different format to really come into an online course. So anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that was just something that came to mind about how best to support those kids, and what your ideal setting was. We're strictly on pretty much independent, except for any needs that technology can support.
And I would definitely include that, you could show both sides of that as well. And that could be part of the advantage or disadvantage of it as well. So I would definitely include that information. That'd be good. Yep.
Thank you.
All righty. So, and those, I'm just kind of using the old breadcrumbs at the top, which.
Can you please clarify what that is?
I know, isn't that the craziest terms? But yeah, it's basically the trail of where you've been. Up here, right here, it shows the home, and then online pedagogy. This is the Ollie course, and then my section of that. So that's basically where you're going. And when you click, those are your breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I might have messed that up when I filmed my stuff on Jing. I was
There's lots of ways to get back and forth.
yeah. I just kind of did it my old-fashioned way. So
you know what? Any way's a good way. If you find your way back, it's the right way.
okay.
I go with it too. Underneath here, there will be a literary review. You'll read an article. And if I remember it, I think you have to read 3. You can, you have the option to read any 3 of the following articles down below here. These are live links, so you can click on them. And then down below then this is where you reply to the article that you read. Some really good articles here, and some good conversation goes on. And again, feel free to reply back and forth and continue those conversations. I encourage you to go back to all your forums and continue conversations with folks, because that's really where it's great to kind of make those connections. So always go back and check those out. The next thing you have to do in week 2 is add a glossary definition. And when I took this class for the first time, I'm like, okay, I clicked on this and I read it. I'm like, okay, so where's the glossary at that I'm supposed to add these? It's right here. So if it would have been me, I would have probably put the link right here. This is the directions of how to do it. And again, you won't see all this because it's the teacher side, but the actual glossary is back here. Okay. And what that is basically is talking about those crazy terms we're just talking about. You know, what is a breadcrumb? Someone's got asynchronous learning here. There's breadcrumbs. Okay. So some folks have already been in here and have put some definitions, and I can view this by author. That's how I can tell who's done what. Looks like I got to get rid of these. Oh, interesting. When I redo the classes, I get rid of everything, and I must not got rid of those. So I better go in there and get rid of those. That was from another section. So, but that's what you have to do, is put in the definition, and then others can learn from that as well. So that's week 2. Any questions on week 2? And then week 3, this is where you're going to have 2 forums again. This one you're being a student coach. That one you do, I believe, your post and then 2 other responses, and then e-coaching tips. I think that's just 1 post, if I remember correctly. And then your action plan. And that action plan, again, like I said, I'll give you some tips and tricks on that a little bit. This is not, I've had people submit papers, audio files, videos, all kinds of different things, PowerPoints. Basically, it's your action plan. It's how do you see yourself using online learning in your situation? And there's 6 areas in which you need to kind of discuss in that paper, presentation, whatever you decide to do, and then submit. Typically, a paper would be about 1.5 pages-ish. Is the general length to 2 pages. Same thing with a slide PowerPoint presentation. You'd have the 6 main points, plus an introductory and a conclusion, and any resources that you need to add. So that's kind of just a good basis to kind of go off of. Like I said, I've had everything. I've had graphic organizers submitted too. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that too. But there are 6, as I said, 6 main areas in which you need to address in this assignment, and they're right here. Learner readiness, learner's preferred or learning style, time management, motivation, tech support, and communication. Those must be in your action plan and discussed. So just keep that in mind. These are the things I'm really looking for, those 6 major points that they're discussed. Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else. Do you guys have any other thoughts, questions? And like I said, I am pretty much online all day long. At work, and works great. They let me do some of this stuff too at work too, or at least email and things like that nature. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. You can always call or text me too. I think I have my cell's in there too. So you're welcome to do that as well. And I'll post this video then also in our announcements over here, so that we can get back to there. If there's any part of this that you want to watch again, you certainly can. So if you guys don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'll